Now, South Africans are gathering countrywide to commemorate Workers' Day. The Federation of Unions of South Africa is currently holding its celebrations in Durban today. And the theme is for employers to introspect and ensure that workers' rights are not trampled upon. eNCA's Lethiwe Mdluli is following that story for us, and she joins us live now to give us an update. Lethiwe, good morning to you, colleague. From where you stand, how are those commemorations and celebrations going? Is there even much for workers to celebrate today in Durban?
Well, that's the question I'm going to pose to the Deputy Secretary for Fedusa, who is going to join me in a minute. But Dumelo, my focus today would have to be at the Department of Education, because as you know, we've been in crisis as the province of KwaZulu-Natal. The department, of course, failed to deliver food to millions of children. And some of the people that were affected were the learners, schools, and also the teachers in those schools. And I want to bring in the union and ask them about their view in what is currently going on. You'd remember that last week the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal did announce that the tender that has been given to Pasena Retail was disqualified, and they're in the process now of going back to the old system where the Department of Education in the province used to use service providers in every part of or every district of the province to deliver food to those schools. And you'd remember that there's been an uproar from the public, from opposition parties, and also as from unions regarding this much big tender, questioning why the department did away with the old system, which didn't have a problem, and introduced a new system. But right now I want to bring in unions, it's just to find out from them what they think about this whole situation. We do understand that also the MEC for Education, Vali Fraser, will be joining in the event and also give a keynote address as part of the May Day celebrations. But now I'm joined by Ashley Benjamin. Mr. Benjamin, thank you so much for joining us at eNCA. I've just explained a bit about some of the issues that teachers have been facing for the past 3 weeks here in KwaZulu-Natal. I know that the MEC will be touching about on issues of safety in schools for workers and also for learners. But overall, what is your take on the crisis, on the food crisis that we're currently facing as a province?
Thank you. Good morning to you and good morning to the viewers out there. Let me first of all, on behalf of the leadership of Fedusa, congratulate all workers in South Africa and around the world and say a happy Workers' Day. Yeah, if we talk about the education crisis in KwaZulu-Natal, we are very angered about it. It is totally unacceptable in this day and age that many children is deprived from sometimes the only meal they have for the day. We really need answers, and we need serious interventions. We have been communicating with the MEC for Education to establish what is the real root cause of the problem. In this democracy of us of 29 years, it's totally unacceptable that workers and learners can be treated as such. And hopefully today the MEC will be addressing our event, will touch on that. Again, unsafe schools, it's a big problem for teachers and learners. As workers, they are faced with serious challenges coming to work every day, unsafe schools. So we really appeal to our government to take this serious. Education is one of the key pillars of our society. So we really want to see the government take this serious and have the necessary resources in terms of finances and other resources to ensure that justice is done to not only learners, but only workers and teachers who must educate the nation. So we hope that there will be serious discussions and things will improve, in particular KwaZulu-Natal province.
We just touched on the safety of teachers in schools, and in KwaZulu-Natal, I think in a month we report on maybe over 3 incidents that we find where people enter schools and they rob teachers. Not so long ago, we actually, as eNCA, did a story in 3 schools that were robbed and teachers were shot at. One teacher was actually injured during those incidents. In talking to the departments and in talking to the teachers, they are saying that they need the departments or government to do more in protecting schools in the province and overall in South Africa, because they feel as if they're not doing enough. In speaking to your members and just basically seeing the situation, what is your take on what is currently happening?
Thank you. No, it's highly regrettable that still in this day and age, teachers are being attacked, children are unsafe at schools. And whilst we've seen some interventions by government, but we don't think they're serious enough. More needs to be done, urgent interventions to ensure the safety of teachers and learners, because schools are an environment for education and learning and teaching and learning. If learners are not safe, what society are we building and what nation are we educating for? So really, government needs to come to the party and put that resources there. Otherwise, we're not going to educate our nation successfully and ensure that we build, a society that we wish for.
And I know that you said the MEC might touch on the food crisis in schools here in the province. Have you had a chance to speak to her? Because as media, we've been trying to speak to the department, but unfortunately they are running away. We need answers. Is someone going to be, is someone going to face the might of the law for doing this? Have you been able to get any information from the department?
Some of our affiliates has been engaging the MEC on the crisis, because as you know, there's many other people in society, political parties, opposition parties has been commenting on it, and our unions has been involved and engaging the MEC, and the MEC has signaled to us that she is seriously looking into the matter, try to rectify it, and ensure also that we avoid this travesty happening again in future. So we expect the MEC, when MEC addressed us today as a keynote speaker, that she will focus and tell us what has been done and how she's going to rectify and ensure that we don't have a repeat of this injustice to learners. Many of them are going to say their only meal for a day is dependent on the school feeding scheme.
And lastly, Mr. Benjamin, just overall, I mean, we're celebrating May Day, and it's literally celebrating workers. What is your message? What is the theme for today? And are you happy as unions from what you're seeing on the ground, what is currently happening when it comes to workers in South Africa?
Well, whilst we achieved a lot as workers over the past 29 years in South Africa, but still a lot to be done. It's a bittersweet moment. There's nothing much to celebrate rather than to commemorate. There's a lot of challenges for workers out there. The triple challenge of unemployment, poverty. We've seen after COVID-19 has been decimated, a lot of jobs in many sectors. Many sectors have not recovered. Even the public sector is under threat. Health and safety conditions is alarming in the public service. Also in the private sector, we still see mine accidents. We still see accidents in factories where workers are employed. And this year we're focusing on health and safety, in particular mental health. We've seen that there is challenges with mental health in many sectors of society where workers through various crises has been affected, mentally. And therefore we call on government as well to have those intervention programs available to assist workers so that they can have full participation in the economy and ensure that we have a healthy workforce.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Pleasure.
Well, Dumelo, that is Ashley Benjamin, the Secretary General or the Deputy Secretary General for Fedusa, basically taking us through what they are going to be commemorating today. But I think the most important thing here, we would like to hear from the MEC of Education here in the province, Mbali Fraser, regarding the food crisis that is currently facing schools, especially because schools are reopening tomorrow. So we'll be on the ground just to basically find out if children will have food for the coming week. She is expected to give a keynote address, and we're expecting her to touch on this crisis because over the past 3 weeks we have been trying to get a comment from the Department of Education regarding this issue, and we have not been able to. So hopefully today she will be addressing on the matter, and we'll find out more on what is currently happening on the ground.
Yeah, Lethiwe Mdluli, you're absolutely right. The voice of government in this regard, absolutely crucial, because we've heard from the ANC's Big Mdolo on where they stand as a political party, but where does government stand and what are the next steps to ensure that millions of children out in KwaZulu-Natal do not continue to not receive, food out in school. So, colleague, we'll leave it all to you and we'll be sure to get those developments as soon as they are available. Mbali Fraser, MEC of the Department of Basic Education out in KwaZulu-Natal, expected to, of course, address members during this Workers' Day today, and pertinent questions around what is to happen to those children out in schools with this nutrition program quite imminent.